So I had knee pain that just wouldn't go away for years. I tried resting, stretching, even just running less, but nothing worked until I realized that my knee wasn't the problem. My system was. I'm Dr. Ray Peralta, physical therapist and run coach. Over the past 10 years, I've helped hundreds of runners stay pain-free and get faster. This video, I'm going to walk you through exactly how I fixed my own knee pain and how you can maybe potentially follow some of these tips without giving up running. Uh, just to clarify, your results may vary. It might, what I'm offering here works for me, but I can't guarantee that it'll work for you. Anyhow, the problem that I was facing was that I was dealing with knee pain, creeping up during my runs, right? Anytime I was trying to train for like a half marathon or a full marathon, this knee would start blowing up, swell up on me after hill workouts, long runs, speed work, right? Essentially, the only thing I could do is easy ones, but I could even do them too long either. And, I tried resting, ice, foam rolling, stretching, but the pain just kept coming back. Right. Every time I thought I fixed it, I'm like, it would come back. Right. I was stuck in this boom bust cycle of pain. Right. Having a good day. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to catch up. I'm going to go catch up on my long run. Boom, overdid it. Increased pain. Then I have to rest to recover. Sometimes it would take me a whole week or two just to recover from one long run. All right. And it wasn't even that long. It was like maybe 12 miles or something, because my body would just flare up so quickly from the long run. And it was frustrating. And then I would, oh, maybe I'll take a pain pill. Maybe I'll take an Advil or something anti-inflammatory to try to mask the pain. But what ended up happening, eventually, the pain would just supersede, kind of break through the anti-inflammatory anyways. So I was like, man, what the heck should I do? And if you want my exact system on how to run faster and stay pain-free, I put the full breakdown inside a Google Doc in my free school community for runners, link in the description. So that's when I realized something most runners miss. Injuries aren't just about what you do when you run or, trying to mask the pain or trying to push through the pain or ignore it. It's about how your body actually recovers between the runs, right? Because if you get too much excessive inflammation, poor recovery, lifestyle factors add up, whether these are things like your habits, your lifestyle habits, they add up and they can stress your body and then delay your healing. So I wasn't broken. I was just under recovered. I went to doctors, right? I had imaging. I did have some inflammation in my knee. They said oh, Hoffa's fat pad inflammation in my knee. I had the MRI and stuff. And then the doctor said, oh, maybe you could do cortisone injection. But then, I was a bit skeptical about the cortisone, not because it can't work at all, at least for temporary pain relief, but also if you rely on it too much, you actually break down the cartilage, you actually put you at risk for like tendon injuries. So I also didn't want to be someone who had to go in every few months for a cortisone shot to my knee. I didn't want to do that either. I was thinking, okay, there has to be a better way. There's maybe something I'm doing, outside of my running that's delaying my healing. Because the thing is, the body can heal from most injuries if you give it the right environment, right? The right nutrition, lifestyle habits. In 3 to 6 months, most injuries will heal. Yes, you have to be smart about it. You can't keep re-aggravating it. I use the analogy like a cut knuckle. If you have a cut in your knuckle, one direction will open the cut, one direction will close the cut. But if you keep re-aggravating it, obviously it's going to delay the healing or restart the healing cycle. So running injuries, why they typically happen is a load mismatch with capacity or tissue capacity. Running causes a load or a stressor on the body, whether it's speed, mileage, etc., hills. And if your body can't handle that, maybe you don't have the capacity to either your recovery, right, your sleep, rest, nutrition, or maybe just your strength, your tissues tolerance, strength and mobility. If you have a lower capacity, then that if a load is excessive, more than your body's capacity, then it breaks down. And that's why a lot of these overuse running injuries happen. And I think that's the same thing that was happening with me, because if I wasn't running, I'd be okay. If I just gave up running altogether, I'd be relatively okay. But I didn't want to do that because I enjoyed running. I'm like, okay, there has to be a better way, right? Your body doesn't get stronger doing the runs itself. It gets stronger when you recover. A lot of people think that running alone strengthens your legs, right? If I just run, my body's going to adapt to running to an extent, right? Running alone is not a substitute for actually doing the things to improve your strength in your legs. And also, if you're running all the time and your body's not able to recover from that, if your recovery's off, your joints are going to pay the price. Because again, running can be a high impact sport. Anytime, 2 to 3 times your body weight, every time your foot hits the ground. So I decided, okay, I went to PT school, got all this background now, the most exercise physiologist. Okay, there has to be a better way. And so something that created the athletic runner method. Right, so I understand how to fix the weak links that was contributing to my knee pain. Right, essentially it was a combination strength and mobility training. So how to mobilize, it's a type of stretching, but for the joints, the tight or stiff areas. So for me, it was not just the knee, but also how to work upstream and downstream. So up and above the whole kinetic change. So my hip flexor was tight, so how to work on like hip extension. My ankle was tight, how to work on like ankle dorsiflexion mobility. And it was interesting, just on the right side, on the same side that I was injured. Like I had right knee pain, my ankle, my right hip was also had to be worked on. And I had to do it daily. So I had to commit to like 10 minutes a day. I couldn't just drop off and forget about it. I had to commit to this as a daily practice. And then strength training 2 or 3 times a week, doing heavy lifting, things like squats, heavy deadlifts, Bulgarian split squats, lunges, calf raises, single leg work, single leg squats. And then also progressing. It couldn't just stay at the same weights, because a mistake a lot of runners make is they don't strength train at all, or they stick at, you know, lightweight, high repetition work. No, you got to do a combination of modalities, but also heavy strength training as well, like 8 to 12 rep max, 5 to 6 rep max. You got to train and challenge your body. And why this works is going to offload the stress from knee, especially training the whole chain, including, the glutes, right, the hamstrings, right, improve force absorption. And my knee pain wasn't just a knee problem; it was a strength and mobility problem, right? And knowing how to do the right exercise, because doing the right exercise is key. And that's why as I mentioned earlier, that just because I'm mentioning these things doesn't mean it's these exact exercises are the same ones you need. You might need certain variations. You may need to change the angle. You may need to mobilize different areas. That's why it's always important to get an assessment done. So then I also did explosive training. What I had was like jump squats, pogo hops, bounding drills, drop jumps. And why? Because running is a series of single leg hops, right? So you have to train your body to be elastic and absorb the shock absorption. So I also need to train tissue elasticity, right? Reactive kind of strength, right? Rate of force development, right? If you only just do like heavy lifting alone, but you're trying to run fast, your body still isn't prepared for the impact. And there's also another thing a lot of runners miss. They don't do explosive training, or maybe they might do a little hops, right? Maybe do some A skips, but still that's not enough. You also need to train maximal jumping as well, maximal power for rate of force development. And then also nutrition to reduce excessive inflammation here, right? So, a lot of foods, they're ultra processed foods that I was eating, right? I would eat things that are packaged. Sometimes I'll, eat out fast food, right? Go to McDonald's after a run or something. Oh, I'm going to get that Big Mac, French fries, chicken McNuggets, McFlurry. But, that stuff wasn't really serving me. Sure, you could eat that stuff in moderation from there. But what I needed more was actually more whole foods, lean quality proteins, fiber, micronutrients, fruits and veggies. Well, your body can't recover if it's constantly inflamed from what you're eating. So better inputs, better recovery, right? So for me, I actually notice when I ate like crap, like a bunch of junk food, I'm actually sensitive to gluten and dairy. So I'm both gluten intolerant and dairy or lactose intolerant. And those kind of foods actually cause more inflammation in my body. So by, being even careful about the foods I was eating. So for me, it was like less bread, wheat products, even too much milk products, got minimized that or like got rid of it. And I know my knee pain and the swelling actually went down tremendously as well. And I know there's people like, what the heck? But again, it's not for everyone. Some people respond differently to certain foods, but for me, that's what I found. And then sleep. Prioritize sleep, getting at least 7 hours a night, right? Better consistency. Because when you're sleep deprived, your body's not actually healing, and also increases your risk of injury. Sleep is where your body actually heals, right? Again, if you're not sleeping or you think, I'm going to just sleep 4 hours a night, you're not going to make progress. You're going to end up being stalled. You're going to also just delay your healing if you're currently dealing with an injury. And then smart running, not more running, right? So I used to follow these plans where I was running like 5 or 6 days a week, cut it down to just 3 runs per week, focusing on the 3 key runs: long run, tempo run, a speed run, or an easy run. So I didn't fix my knee by running more. I fixed it by running smarter, right? And I even do these plans when I'm training for a half marathon or a full marathon. I realize you don't have to run every single day of the week. You can balance it out to make time to also do the recovery work, do the strength and mobility training as well. So I was able to get rid of the knee pain, able to run. I ran like the New York City Marathon, run countless half marathons. And once I fixed my recovery system, my knee pain didn't just go away. I became a stronger runner than before. If you want help applying this to your situation, I have a few spots open to work with me privately for one-to-one coaching. Spots are limited, so it's first come, first serve. Link in the description below. So the lessons: pain is often a capacity problem, not a tissue damage problem. Like it's not a catastrophic injury or damage. Recovery drives performance. So more running isn't always the answer, and longevity is better than putting your ego and trying to ignore pain and keep pushing through the pain.